Brad Marchand was making all kinds of headlines on Saturday night, scoring the game winner in overtime against the Toronto Maple Leafs, while also downplaying a report that he's close to signing a contract extension.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Monday, October 28th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Today on the show, we are going to discuss Saturday's 4-3 overtime win over the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as a report during second intermission that Captain Brad Marchand is close to signing a contract extension with the team. We're going to touch on Riley Tufty being waived and what could be next there as well. Before we do get started, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins, and you can find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes, at Ian C. McLaren. I am a lifelong Bruins fan. Been following this team for, my life. Been covering the team for various outlets for 20 years. Was a full-time hockey news editor at thescore.com and have been hosting this podcast for about 5 years now, and a lot of victories over the Toronto Maple Leafs in that time, capped by the latest, which came on Saturday night in Boston with a 4-3 overtime win. Now, it would be a lie to say that Brad Marchand's first goal of the season could not come at a better time. In fact, it would have been much better if he had scored on an empty net opportunity late in the third period before Auston Matthews tied things up and sent things to an extra frame. In fact, it was Matthews on the back check who disrupted Marchand's opportunity to score in the empty net. Thankfully, though, he did get that goal in overtime, or else the vibes around the team would be much different here on Monday morning if the Bruins had not only allowed that game-tying goal late in the third, but also dropped that second point and lost in overtime or a shootout to Toronto. But as it happened, it was Auston Matthews who taketh away. Auston Matthews who giveth. He had an egregious turnover in the Leafs zone that went straight to David Pastrnak, who fired a shot on goal. The rebound was initially saved by Anthony Stolarz, an amazing save, but Brad Marchand's determination won out, and he was able to knock the puck into the net for the overtime winner. Now, his first goal of the season, and it's great to see him get that monkey off his back. He did admit afterwards that it was something that was weighing on him a little bit. It's quite a long stretch to go without a goal. He did have one goal, one assist in the game. He's still only on pace for 55 points, which would be a pretty down season for the captain. Now, during this game, it was reported by Elliot Friedman on Hockey Night in Canada that Marchand and the Bruins are nearing a contract extension, and Friedman reported it to be a 3-year contract extension. Marchand is going to turn 37 in May, so a 3-year extension would take him to 38, 39, 40. And while Marchand has been on an extremely team-friendly contract over the past several seasons, there's a question of committing another 3 years to a guy who's coming off 3 off-season surgeries. With all due respect, clearly not the same guy that he has been, and that happens, obviously, when you get into your later 30s. So what term and what will the contract valuation be for a guy at this stage in his career? Remember, some guys take even team-friendlier deals in the latter stages of their careers, but there's a sense that the Bruins should take care of Marchand a little bit for the money that he's left on the table basically throughout his career. And if he went to the open market, what would a team throw him on a 1-year deal with the chance to add him and try to get over the hump with a guy who has all the experience in the world? Now, after the game, Marchand downplayed this report, well, flat out refuting it. He stuck to his party line that he doesn't want to talk about contracts during the season. But he also said basically Elliot Friedman is false. And he also joked that Friedman's been talking about him quite a bit lately, as of course he and Kyle Bukauskas on the 32 Thoughts podcast spent a lot of time discussing his interaction with head coach Jim Montgomery on the bench during that Utah game last week, where Montgomery really laid into him and also laid hands on him. Now, Marchand, again, refuting this report while also saying he wasn't going to talk about his contract. This morning on 32 Thoughts, Friedman graciously deferred to Marchand. Obviously, he's the primary source here. If he's saying it's not close or nothing's in the works, then that's what you have to listen to. He was also saying that there's been some pushback perhaps on the term. Maybe they're discussing a 2-year deal instead of a 3-year deal, or the Bruins would prefer a 2-year deal at the very least. And not that communication has broken down, but maybe it's not the focus right now, seeing as the Bruins had been struggling a little bit here to begin the season. At the end of the day, it's Brad Marchand who came up big, his 20th overtime goal. He's now the only active player with 20 or more overtime game-winning goals in his career, behind Alex Ovechkin, who's got 28, I believe. Sidney Crosby has 21. And, Crosby and Marchand could be playing together for Team Canada at the upcoming Four Nations face-off. Again, Marchand had not scored in the first 8 games of the season. First time since his second season in the league back in 2010, 2011. He also scored his first goal that season in the 9th game. We all know what happened that season, not to put 2 and 2 together. He also did assist on Pasternak's power play goal in the second. So a big 2-point game for the captain. And again, it could have been disastrous had the Bruins given up that extra point, had they lost in overtime after Auston Matthews had been left wide open in front of the net for that game-tying goal late in the third. Thankfully, the Bruins were able to get the overtime winner, get the 2 points. And as we'll discuss later on, there's quite a logjam in the Atlantic Division at the moment, with no fewer than 5 teams tied at 4-4-1 records. So the Bruins needed that extra point desperately, and it's going to be a tight go through the Atlantic all season long. And the Bruins need Brad Marchand to keep scoring in order for them to succeed, just straight up. So that was the big storyline on Saturday. Marchand's first goal, the Bruins overcoming that late game gaffe where Toronto tied it up, and Marchand's contract situation. There's some key stats we need to look at from this game, as well as some signals to take forward into this week, including Riley Tufty being waived. And we'll discuss all that here as the podcast continues. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, for example, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Prize Picks also puts their members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as fast as 15 minutes. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get a $50 instant match after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app, use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Stats. What were the key stats from a Boston Bruins victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday? One of the key stats, the Bruins got off to a fantastic start in this game. And while the score was 0-0 after one, the Bruins, who have a propensity to be wildly outshot to begin the game, turned the tables in this one. At 5-on-5 in the first period, they had a 75% shot attempt differential, an 83.33 shot differential, 10-2 the shots in the first period at 5-on-5, 4-0 the high danger chances. Unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize. Anthony Stolarz was excellent for this team, for the Leafs that night. Overall, in the first period, the Bruins had a 25-12 shot attempt differential, 10-5 shot differential, 6-1 were the high danger chances. Now, most of the scoring in this game came in the second period. Matthew Knies opened the scoring for the Maple Leafs, assisted by Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner. David Pastrnak scored his sixth for the Bruins on the power play. I mentioned Marchand getting the assist on that one, as did Pavel Zacha, only his second assist of the season. He's only got, 3 points so far this season. We need a lot more from Pavel Zacha here moving forward. He did get the assist, but the belief was he might build on last season's success. He's only on pace for 27 points at the moment, 3 points through 9 games. It's nice to see that assist come in, but we need a lot more here from Pavel Zacha. Another key stat from this game was a goal scored by Justin Brazeau, his second goal in as many games. And I've been a bit down on Brazeau to start the season. I wasn't sure if he, had earned a full-time spot in the lineup, if he was a guy who should be saying, I'm here, I'm established, nothing to worry about. To his credit, he has come out and played very well over the past couple games and is now on a 2-game scoring streak, which is great to see. Playing with Trent Frederick, Morgan Geekie on the third line, with Marchand joined by Charlie Coyle and Matthew Poitras on the second line. One of my favorite plays from the night came on an assist by Johnny Beecher, his fourth helper of the season. He was over in the corner, no look pass to Mark Kastelic, who was in front of the net, and Kastelic with his third goal of the season, assisted by Johnny Beecher. Cole Koepke, the fourth line, getting in on the action here once again with the scoring. Overall, the Bruins held the advantage in this one, 65-59 in terms of shot attempts, 34-23 were the shots, high danger chances for the Bruins, 15-11, and then, of course, they come out on top with the 4-3 victory. They were led in shots on goal by Marchand, Pastrnak, as well as Hampus Lindholm. I've said your best players need to be your best players. Pastrnak, Marchand had big games here against the Leafs. Swayman, 3 goals on 23 shots and .870 save percentage. Not exactly stellar. You can't really fault him on the the third goal, the Auston Matthews game-tying goal. Where was the defense there? A real breakdown in communication to leave a guy like Auston Matthews wide open. Now, the Bruins did have Only 4 minutes and penalties in this one, which was nice to see after their long, steady run to the penalty box. Morgan Geekie took an interference penalty against Ryan Reeves. That was a very unfortunate call. John Beecher off for hooking. Later on in the game, Charlie Coyle got an unsportsmanlike conduct, and Trent Frederick cross-checked Nicholas Robertson, I should say. So when it comes to penalty minutes, 4 penalties for the Bruins, 8 total penalty minutes. Still, you don't want to be giving the Toronto Maple Leafs time in the box. You know that they are very dangerous on the power play. Thankfully, the Bruins were able to kill all the penalties. Leafs went 0 for 3 on their power play opportunities. The Bruins went 1 for 5. David Pastrnak getting that goal. What other key stats should we take from this game? Those are the big ones. Marchand getting his first goal. That Johnny Beecher assist was sick. Mark Kastelic getting another goal. The fourth line staying hot. And that Justin Brazeau goal, I think, was really key for him to continue to build his confidence. The Bruins got scoring up and down the lineup, all lines chipping in here with Marchand, Pastrnak, Brazeau, and Kastelic scoring. Would love to see stronger effort from Swayman and net, but again, that third goal, not holding that against him at all. The Maple Leafs are a very talented offensive team. You're not going to keep them at bay all night long. That goal, could have been a heartbreaker, but thankfully the Bruins were able to get the game winner there in overtime. And they got a couple winnable games on the schedule this week. We're going to look at some more signals we can take away from Saturday night's game here as the podcast continues. I hope you all enjoyed your Sunday afternoon football viewing, and FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. It's the place you want to be to tackle NFL action each and every weekend. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL in one place. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. And again, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now, over the weekend, the Boston Bruins announced that Riley Tufty had been assigned to Providence. The goal is to get him some more regular playing time, but also to clear some cap space. The Bruins now have enough space to sign Tyler Johnson, for example. According to Cap Wages, a cap-friendly replacement, they currently have 21 players signed with to the NHL roster with $1.186667 in available cap space. Now, they don't play again until tomorrow night, Tuesday, meaning they may wait to sign a guy like Tyler Johnson just till the last minute to accrue more cap space. The less you have on there, the more you accrue moving forward. So look for that to happen at some point, maybe this today or prior to their next game, which is Tuesday evening against the Philadelphia Flyers. So Riley Tufty waived. They have an open roster spot, $1.18 million in available cap space, which could be assigned to Tyler Johnson, who's been patiently waiting in the wings here, much like Danton Heinen did last year, and he was signed on October 30th. The Bruins will be in action on Tuesday against the Philadelphia Flyers. And yeah, Johnson could be in the lineup. The question is, who would come out? I believe, like I said earlier, Justin Brazeau played very well on the last couple games. So the guy that I would peg to come out right now is Morgan Geekie. He has just not been playing very well at all. He took that penalty the other night. He's only got 1 assist through 8 games this season. That's just not going to cut it. And you could easily put Johnson in the lineup, take Patra, put him back on the third line with Frederic and Brazeau, and then you could put Tyler Johnson on the second line playing with Marchand and Coyle, and give Geekie a seat for the time being alongside Max Jones, who's also watching from the press box right now. Or you could put Johnson as the center on the third line with Frederic and Brazeau and keep Patra on the second line. That's probably the best possible lineup you can give the Bruins right now. The one they had on Saturday, with all the available players they have, that's probably their best possible lineup. But again, guys like Geekie really struggling. Even Trent Frederic has not had the most productive start to the season. There are some guys who are exceeding expectations. Obviously, your Cole Koepke's, who still is second on the team in scoring, 1 point behind David Pastrnak. Johnny Beecher, Mark Kastelic tied with Brad Marchand for third in points with 6. But then you have, again, Geekie, 1 assist through 8 games. Charlie Coyle, 1 goal through 9 games. Trent Frederic, 3 points through 9 games. And while Brazeau only has 3 points through 7 games, at least he's trending upwards here with 2 goals over the past couple games. The back end, you're not getting a ton of offense from. Mason Lohrei is your number 1 scoring defenseman on the team with 4 points. Zadorov's got 3 points, but he's been in and out of the penalty box, leads the team with 21 penalty minutes. And then Charlie McAvoy had a good start. He's only got 3 points total, as does Hampus Lindholm. The Bruins need to generate some more offense from the back end. That should help things up front as well. And we'll see here if Tyler Johnson is indeed signed ahead of Tuesday's game against the Philadelphia Flyers. When it comes to the Bruins' schedule this week, they do have a couple games coming up against Philadelphia, a team that is pretty beatable. The Flyers right now, they just lost to the Montreal Canadiens last night, and they're in the basement of the Metropolitan Division, actually the basement of the Eastern Conference, with a record of 2-6-1, 5 points through 9 games. Could John Tortorella be finding himself on the hot seat? They're kind of a rebuilding team, but they were expected to take a bit of a step forward this season, especially with rookie phenom Matvei Michkov in the mix. They have some serious goaltending issues, however. The Bruins, again, they'll play Philadelphia on Tuesday at home. Then they'll head on the road to take on the Hurricanes on Thursday, which is Halloween, of course. And then they'll have a back-to-back next weekend, their first back-to-back situation of the season, with them visiting Philly, an afternoon game on Saturday, and then hosting Seattle Kraken on Sunday. I would expect, well, with the back-to-back coming up, Eunice Korpisalo will get into one of those games. I wouldn't be shocked if they go Korpisalo in both Philly games and then go with Swayman in the game against Carolina and Seattle. Swayman has made the past 4 starts, and he's been in the net for 7 of the 9 games so far this season. So Korpisalo due to get some action here, and what better time to put him in there than against a team that's struggling like the Philadelphia Flyers. All right, so that is all the absolute latest on the Boston Bruins. Be sure to check out the Locked On Boston Bruins YouTube channel for immediate reaction. I had a video up there after the game on Saturday with Marchand scoring, as well as the contract situation. If and when Tyler Johnson signs, I'll be sure to do an immediate reaction video over there as well. Please do check out the Locked On Fantasy Hockey podcast next. Steal and Flip are over there to give you all the latest, to give you the edge over your league mates with daily tips. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. The same goes here for Locked On Boston Bruins, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. I hope your week gets off to a great start. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you again here tomorrow, where we'll do the Atlantic Division Power Rankings, as well as preview the game against the Philadelphia Flyers.